My name is Benjamin Guerra. I'm from Provo. I grew up there, but lived in other places, but originally from Panama.
My name is Chief Clinton. Originally, I was born in Southern California.
My name is Alan Duke. I'm from Springville, Utah here.
My name is Paul Mayer. I grew up in Midway, Utah.
What made me want to become a firefighter? That's a little bit of a story. It's 2 in the morning. My dad and mom are in the front, and my uncle and I are in the back. We're driving on the interstate, trying to get back to the border. And out of nowhere, his car just ignites. I tell my dad to stop the car, and I'm in shorts, flip-flops, and a tank top. I go running over this dude's car, and I say, "Is there anyone else in the car?" "No." "Nobody?" "No." "Oh wait, my wife. We'll get her out of there." So I go into the back, and there's a little kid in there, and I pull him out, hand him over to mom. So we started getting all this dirt, and we're putting it into this cooler. I could see what was on fire. It was this piece of rubber that was stuck in his control arm, but I couldn't grab it. It was too hot. So I just kept putting dirt on it, and I eventually got it out enough to where I could grab the piece and put the fire out right as the firefighters were coming over the hill. So that got me into the fire side, and then I started looking into the medical side. It interests me as well.
It was not my first pick. I started looking up and picked 3 different careers. I forgot what one of them was, but one of them was park ranger, one was firefighter, and I don't remember the third now. And as I evaluated those, decided I think the fire service fits my personality. Started looking into it, readjusted my degree, and pursued fire science.
I had a strong desire to serve in the community that I grew up in. I actually started as a volunteer with Springville back in 2003, and did some soul searching and decided it was time to change career paths. And I enjoyed volunteering and doing it essentially for free. So I chose to get into the career.
I realized I wanted to join the emergency services when I was coaching an adult swim team, and one of the swimmers actually worked for a fire department in Utah County. And he had mentioned to me that he thought that I'd be good in the emergency services. And so at that point, I kind of looked into it, got into a fire academy, and realized that that's what I loved.
My favorite operation to perform. I really enjoy fire tactics. I really like doing roof operations. So getting up on the roof, cutting with chainsaws, doing vertical ventilation.
Hands down, going interior on a fire, there's nothing more exhilarating.
My favorite emergency operation to perform is fire rescue on the fire ground, or fire attack rather. I love getting ready, getting the adrenaline rush.
To make sure my guys go home alive.
My first incident as a firefighter paramedic was it was a rollover actually. There was a lady who got cut off, and she ended up rolling her car on the curb, and there was 2 kids inside. So right then and there, everyone was just, it just kind of becomes a real tense moment. But luckily the kids were okay. Everyone was wearing their seatbelt.
I can remember the first incident and the feelings that went in with it. But I remember my first call. I think it was a structure fire. But I remember in those days we wrote on the back of the engines and thinking, this is real. The home lumber, like Home Depot, but it was home lumber. And it was fully involved, the whole lumber yard and the building. That was my first large fire. That was amazing.
So my first emergency incident was a medical call. It was a heroin overdose. We got on scene, and the patient, he was non-responsive, unconscious, agonal breathing. As we got there, we got an airway established really quick. We got pushed a drug that helps pull patients out of opiate overdoses, transporting him to the hospital, and in the ambulance, he came around, and he was a little bit confused, but I mean, other than that, he was back to normal.
Yeah, you always remember your first traumatic injury. You always remember your first cardiac arrest. I was a brand new basic EMT, and I was with a crew of two seasoned veterans that helped me through the process. I ended up performing chest compressions, putting the shock patches on the individual, shocking the individual, and so I kind of managed the cardiac monitor and did chest compressions.
So my most intense emergency incident would be the first fire that I ever had. And there was fire coming out of the garage of this house. So we put out what we could from the outside, and then as we made entry, it was super hot. So we got back in, and I mean, once we were in there, it was super dark, it was super hot. So I think that was the most intense.
We had an incident, this is a few years back, an incident up Hobble Creek Canyon where some high school kids were unfortunately killed in a car accident. And so that one was kind of a pretty traumatic event because we had 3 deceased on scene, and after the fact I found out that one of the individuals in the car was related through marriage, and at the time I didn't know. So I was with the first arriving company on that, so we established command, ordered additional resources because we knew we had 3 confirmed fatality. I ended up remaining on scene for several hours. It was a pretty long, drawn-out incident.
The most intense incident is anything that regards children. You know, there was a time last year where it was actually the 4th of July. There was a call that came in for a little kid that had drowned. You know, you got to deal with it and just do the best that you can with what you got. You know, sometimes there's good outcomes and sometimes they're not.
Anytime we go interior in a structure, the unknown, you don't know. You have to go in, confine, locate the seat of the fire and confine it to the area of origin. And depending on how involved the fire is, before we get there, if it's been burning unchecked for 15-20 minutes before we get there, it can be very dangerous.
As cliche as it sounds, it really comes down to communication, because everything can be dangerous, anything can be safe. It just depends on the communication, because if you're not in sync with the other personnel or people on your crew, people can die.
It's really hard to train for fire rescue. It's hard to mimic circumstances that are in the real world. Nothing's textbook in the real world.
Hands down, it's what we call big box fires. Those are the ones that kill firemen. It's the large warehouses, any structure that has large open spans. You can see your Walmarts, you can see your grocery store. Your warehouses are deadly because they have large, long, open spans. In a large warehouse, or what we call big box, that whole roof's coming down.
The way to get rid of any type of injuries, whether it be in a real scenario or if it's training, is being prepared. Being, number 1, mentally prepared, 2, physically prepared, 3, communication for sure, and then having a good, just understanding your crew.
I think something that could be done that would help improve or lower the amount of injuries on fireground and in trainings would be communication skills. There's a lot of times where nobody's talking or communicating, and that causes injuries to happen, or people are talking too much over the air and it's causing confusion on the fireground.
More training, hands down. The best part about reviewing NIOSH reports and incidents where things went south and catastrophic things happened to certain firefighters or individuals, the best thing we can do is study and learn from that.
Training. Yeah, better training, good quality, putting good people in the right places. It's a catch-22 in some areas. We have a saying here, experience is what you get right after you needed it. Often that is your first time on that call. That's the nature of the industry that will keep you up at night. all of a sudden you roll into something and you've never been there before.
Being part of the emergency services, what it means to me, it's a small family. Not only that, but there's a common sense of urgency between everyone and professionalism, to where we know that whenever there's a call, it's time to get serious.
So being part of the emergency services to me is going and having fun. When you are with a crew for 48 hours, you'd think that it would be a long time to spend with people, co-workers, but I mean, really it's a family.
Me, it's my livelihood. My father was a volunteer for Springville City. It kind of instilled that in me at a young age, that it's okay to give of your time, and I found out later in life that it's actually fun.
That's interesting. I ask people that question all the time, in a different form. I ask them, why do you want to be a firefighter? They have a difficult time answering that question. They'll tell me they want to help people. And I tell them that's fine. Every job out there helps people. So I make them dig deeper into, why do you want to be a firefighter? And it took me almost a career to finally define it. Firefighters are willing to risk their lives for total strangers. We don't know the people we're going on. So it's not them that we're going to save, it's life itself. We respect life, and there's such a high value of protecting that life and giving it one more chance. It's life that we care about. Life is what we're in this industry for, is to protect life and give that person that we don't know another shot at living.